So Daniel Vernon, thank you for sitting down with me. Basically, I think that I'm identifying an opportunity in the marketplace for a potential business idea. And the way I see that looking is basically the problem I see is that millennials are terrible with finances, in my observation. I feel like they've been deficiently educated. I feel like they aren't entrepreneurially or business-minded a large percentage of the time. There hasn't been kind of that TLC, hand-holding, method of educating millennials with simple things, cutting checks, credit management, investment management, passive strategies with finances. This kind of education has basically avoided the millennial generation. And it's funny because to me, personal finance is, an essential part of the economy. And we're moderately, minimally, I'd really say, educating on economics. We are educating on science, technology, mathematics, history, literature. But finance, personal finance, financial management gets kind of left by the wayside. So I want to, basically my idea is educating millennials, a hand-holding advisory process, and really collaborating with them and teaching them about finances in a way that can be mutually beneficial, kind of sort of through a financial advisory relationship, but more like a mentorship relationship. So I kind of want to ask you a couple questions here. The first one is, do you think this is a need? Do you think I'm addressing a real need here? And if so, what's the exact nature of that need?
I definitely think that's a need. You're right. The school system does really focus on subjects like science and math and even economics, but not so much personal finance and personal decisions, how to invest your money, how to use it wisely. So I definitely agree with you that this is a problem. And I definitely think it would be great to have some sort of mentorship or some sort of advising to guide you through your finances. I mean, once you graduate high school, you're typically on your own financially. And by that time, you should really be educated on how to save your money, how to multiply your money, how to spend it. So I definitely think that's it.
Right, yeah, I fully agree. So now I'm kind of wondering, do you think millennials are aware of this? If so, when do they become aware of this? And is this something that they experience, feel, recognize, notice as a problem continually, sometimes? So are they aware? And if so, how often are they aware? How much are they aware about this?
I think awareness comes pretty much right when you're financially independent. And I know for myself, when I started to be in charge of my own finances, it was definitely a realization that I knew I had a general sense of what to do, but I don't think it was a very educated sense. And I definitely sort of felt alone in the ocean. And I definitely felt like I didn't have the proper
toolkit
to
yeah. Well, that's good. So that goes well into my next question. So how long have they had the need? So how long do you feel like kind of young people have been aware of this deficiency or lack of financial education, and how are they currently addressing it?
I think young people are mainly oblivious to it until they are financially independent. But I think you realize it pretty quick once you make that transition. What was the other question?
And how are they addressing this need? Do you see millennials addressing this?
Sadly, I know for my friend group, for people I know, they seem to be pretty lost at how to deal with their finances.
Wow.
I think usually
Lost? You feel like it's not an understatement?
I feel like generally,
That's terrible.
I think they definitely turn to their parents for guidance, and they definitely turn to banks and I guess any other source of...
So that goes well into my last question then. How satisfied are they with this solution, we'll call it, that they've implemented of turning to banks, their parents, the things you mentioned? Are they satisfied?
I would say no. I know for me, I went to the bank recently for a credit card transfer, balance transfer, and there was a lot of small print, and
That's
the lady was trying to go through it with me, and I felt like she really was just trying to get me to get the product and wasn't really educating me. So I think banks tend to have ulterior motives. So that kind of creates a challenge.
See, and that's interesting. I see our generation thinking that a lot. I feel that that's the case sometimes, but not all the time. And I think you're kind of touching on a pain point, an open wound, if you will, as a result of this lack of education, because when you don't understand it and you get any kind of indicator that's a bad signal, you're not going to trust it. And so, anyways, I just wanted to touch on that briefly. Well, thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate your time, to talk to me, to interview, to thoughtfully answer my questions, and I wish you the best.
For sure.
That was a really interesting interview with Daniel. He seemed to think differently about the profit opportunity than Asher did. Asher saw it as more of an education play. Daniel seemed to think, people wake up when they're on their own financially. That's the time to get them. That's when they're a legitimate part of the target market. But definitely consensus that so far that millennials aren't good with money and aren't doing good things about it. Major concern, especially given the fact that personal pension plans are disappearing and Social Security is going to be insolvent when these guys are retiring. Really, really deep implications for the United States economy. Not a whole lot surprised me in that one, which disappointed me, but in a way, it also isn't disappointing because it's kind of my thesis for this company. So, really interesting interview with Daniel.